What's going on? Welcome back to another video. It's been a long time since I've made a video, 2 years in fact, and I've done a lot in that time, and I sort of just wanted to get back into making videos. I had made several videos a few years ago, and then just never finished them. So I thought a good first video back, I would tell you guys where I had been for the past 2 years, show you some of the cars I got here, and what my plans are to do with them using the channel. I thought I'd start off with where I've been for the past 2 years. I made my last video in 2019. It was me going to the US, to Dallas, going to a car meet there and doing stuff there. Basically after that, I don't know, I was quite busy and I lost interest in making videos. So if you've been on the channel for a while, you might know I used to have a 2019 Toyota 86 GTS manual. It was blue. It featured on the channel like maybe twice, just like quick flashes of it. But I had planned on making videos with that. It wasn't highly modified, but it was sort of modified. Had BC racing coilovers, worker motion wheels that I waited 5 months from Japan for, and you know, just clean mods. I tried to have a clean stance car slash, you know, daily that I could also take to the track and drift. But all I'm going to say about that is its life was cut short. It's no longer alive, which was a real bummer. Sucked for me because I kind of wanted to use it to try and get back into making videos. But yeah, basically some of the things that have happened since I made my last video. I am a second, almost third year apprentice mechanic for a popular Japanese car brand, probably the most popular in the world. That probably gives it away. I'm just not going to say the name though. So in that time, I've learnt a lot more about cars than I did back then, mainly mechanical stuff. So I made a video of me picking up the car we are sitting in now, probably a year and a half ago, when I was going to try and get back into making videos. But you know, in that year and a half, this car has changed dramatically. I've learnt a lot on it. I've put a engine in it, taken the engine out multiple times, and just done tons of stuff to it. So we'll start off with this car, and then I'll show you some of the other cars I have and what my plans are for them and what my plans are for this car. So here we are sitting in the first car. Let's get out of it and I'll show you what it is. Quite a tight fit, but this is, if you're not familiar with it, it is a Daihatsu Mirror. So if you aren't familiar with Daihatsu, it is a Toyota brand, which is sort of the economy car or economy brand for Toyota. Like, you know, you have Lexus, which is the luxury brand, you have Toyota, you have Hino, which is their trucks, and then you have Daihatsu, which is their economy cars and their cheaper cars. So here it is, the Mirror, considered a K car. If you're not sure what K cars are, it's basically a classification of type of car in Japan. Small ones, to be considered a K car, they have to fit under certain dimensions and have an engine size of under 660 cc. So this is an Australian model, but it is still the same as the Japanese model. So it is considered a K car. That's why I have here some custom Japanese plates, which is the K-spec yellow. With K cars in Japan, they are taxed less, stuff like that, just because of being small and economical. And they have, instead of having the white and green plates like normal Japanese cars, they have the yellow ones. So these are Australian, New South Wales plates. That are, well, they're like replicas that you can buy for, you know, your Australian car. So yeah, it's yellow, and that basically just says Japanese domestic market, because JDM. And yeah, here it is. These are most commonly known from Mighty Car Mods. They've done a lot with Daihatsus over the years. Their most popular one would be Marty's Black TRXX, which is the turbo all-wheel drive model that he drove around in Japan with Moog, and then they shipped it over to Australia, cut up and rebuilt it on an Australian spec shell. So this car started off life as completely stock and it was originally purple. It's been vinyl wrapped in a sparkle red, I think it's called diamond red vinyl wrap. It's a bit hard to see, but it's quite sparkly. But yeah, some of the other mods that's been done to this car, we'll start off with the JDM clear indicators, JDM mirrors, JDM chrome door handles as well. All stuff that is quite rare and hard to find. It's hard to find parts for this car, especially aftermarket. There is little to no aftermarket support for these vehicles. We have these doilies made for this car. We also have some quite rare mirror floor mats. Don't mind the leaf on the floor mat. Inside we have a Kenwood head unit. It's not properly in there and wired up properly. It does work though. I've just got to cut out where it's meant to go. Also we have an Asahi can shift knob. This is a miniature one. So yeah, it's pretty tiny. Also we have a rep like Momo wheel, as I'm waiting for a Nardi wheel that is coming. Coming back to the outside of the car, we have some 13-inch Volk Racing A Revolutions. So they're raised wheels, genuine, imported from Japan, on some tiny tyres that are 145/60 by 13. In here we can see as well, there's not much room between the caliper and the wheel. These are drilled and slotted rotors and bigger front calipers off the turbo model from Japan. I had them imported as well. I also have the backs coming. It's got drum brakes at the moment, but it's going to have drilled and slotted rotors in the back as well. Some of the other stuff done to this, several stickers, you know. We've got one singular wiper. I've done one wiper. I just got to shave it down, take that out and shave it down, make it flush. We've also got a miniature Hot Wheel that I've painted to look like mine. We've got this little Daihatsu badge on the front here, with the really rare mirror badge as well. The car is sitting on coilovers in the front and chop springs in the rear. This is probably the most modified mirror L500 in Australia, at least, I'd say. Definitely not in Japan. They do some crazy things in Japan and Malaysia with these cars, but this is probably the most modified L500 mirror in Australia. As we move on to the engine bay, as I said, there's hardly any aftermarket support for this car. We've got a custom pod filter. The valve cover's been painted when I rebuilt the engine after I shot a rod through the block. As you can see, it's still got the original purple as it's just been wrapped. We've got this big aluminium radiator, and that's pretty much it. Camber tops as well from Japan, and that's basically it. I also have this tiny K-spec, just for reference, that's my hand. So basically where I find most of my parts for my cars, because they're all from Japan, the parts, I have a mate in Malaysia that supplies to Australia and other places from Japan and Malaysia. I got these ones from Bai using Yahoo Japan auctions. These are Enki J Speeds. These are 13-inch wheels as well, and they're on Firestone tyres. Here is car number 2 that I literally just picked up last weekend. It's a stock as rock version of my car. This is the Australian one. So in Australia it was sold as the Charade Centro, but it's literally exactly the same car as the Mirror. This is also a 4-door like my other car. And I've always wanted a 2-door, and the 2-door ones are the more common ones, but I have all the rare 4-doors, and I can't find a 2-door. So this thing is literally grandpa spec or granny spec, stock as a rock. I've put these Japanese mirror floor mats in it, which need to be cleaned because they're quite dirty. And as you can see, it's quite different inside. It's the same, but quite different compared to mine. So, you know, it's got a stock steering wheel, it's got the stock radio, everything's pretty stock in there. Nothing's done to it. If I pop the bonnet, there's nothing done on underneath. It's the same engine. Obviously it has an air filter on it, not an intake like mine. It's also got air horns on it, which is kind of funny. So here we come to the project. This is a L200 mirror, which is an older version of the two I've just shown you. And this thing I bought non-running for $700. Needed tons of work, had been sitting in the field for probably 8 years. Some of the things I've done to it, it's been rattle can painted, which actually came out alright. I ran out of paint though, so half the car is sitting in primer while the other half is white. I've put the factory red stripes on it. Here's some more parts off it. I have finished painting as well. This one is lowered a little bit, chop springs, and stock struts with chop springs. Engine is completely stock, but it's got a fuel pressure reg that's not hooked up properly. I'm struggling to make it run. It bogs out whenever it's revved. So it's something to do with fuel pressure or the pressure sensor, which I can't find because parts are so hard to find for this car. As you see, the other side, all in primer. And if I show the inside, it's quite, it's a little bit gross. All stock inside, lots of just random parts and bits in here. And to show you, I'm 6'4". This seat is back as far as possible. And this is where my legs are. My knees hit the steering wheel. If I'm trying to go into fifth, my knee will hit the shift knob or the wheel. So it's not the most ideal car for someone quite tall, but that's why I love them. Because you hop out of this car and people see how small it is, and then they see you hop out of it, and I'm quite tall, and I think mostly they're shocked about it. This car back in the day was also running a turbo, so it's got all the lines and stuff to run a turbo. This is a Starlet GT turbo that's been fabbed up to fit on this car that I'll eventually put on. Now moving on to the final car, it is my daily, which is an 08 VW Golf Mark V GTI. It's not much done to it. I've just blacked out the front badge, and I've done this white line used to be red. I've painted it red. It's got an intake, a 3-inch downpipe, and a DV plus diverter valve, as well. As you can see, pretty stock inside, manual. As it's just the daily, I didn't want to do tons of stuff to it, because you know the other cars are quite red hot with police. So this one's kind of just like, you know, so I don't get pulled over and defected, but it's just got an enclosed air intake and a go fast bits diverter valve at the bottom. And I'll start it up, even though it's quite obnoxious and loud. The neighbors are going to hate me, but I'll start it up. I'll just give it a little rev. But yeah, as I said about it being the car that doesn't draw attention, it's quite loud. But yeah, that's basically all for this video. I hope you guys sort of enjoyed just looking at the cars. I really look forward to hopefully making some more videos in the future, as it's been such a long time since I have. And yeah, hopefully we can see where it goes from here and what happens. But hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.